beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome back to some Warframe. So this was a requested video by a subscriber. His name is Kendula. Shout out to you for requesting this video. So basically, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do focus farming in 2021 and beyond. But before I continue with the video, please spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos, and let's do this. Let's talk focus. What is focus? Ladies and gentlemen, focus is a special type of XP that is used to make your operator a lot stronger. Now, within the operator, there are 5 different schools. Each school has its own set of nodes and passives. Now, when you guys want to play a mission, you can only use one school at a time. You can't use all 5 at once because, that'd be kind of OP, and we all know the developers don't like OP. So you can only use one school tree at a time. So if you guys do not know exactly what I'm talking about and are new to Warframe, don't worry, I've also got you guys covered. Basically, you guys need to go and complete all of your cinematical quests, such as the Second Dream, the Sacrifice, the Apostasy, and finally the War Within. But for those of you who have done all that, let us continue. So, as you guys can see, here are all the school trees in the entire game, or all the schools. At the bottom left, it says that my current daily focus cap is 370,000. So, what this means is, if in a single day that I go and get 370,000 worth of focus points, I can't go any further than that. However, that does not mean it is game over. Another way that you guys can get more focus in a single day on top of your current cap is to go and do Eidolon hunts. From the Eidolon hunts, you guys get these things called Eidolon shards and a whole bunch of other stuff. Now, you can use these shards and convert them into focus. Now, if you guys want to know exactly how to do Eidolon hunts, don't worry, I've also got you guys covered there. I have a video on this. Take a look at the link down in the description, and I'll suggest you guys at the top right. I cover everything that you guys need to know in fine detail, so go ahead and watch it. So, when it comes to the best school tree I feel for general Warframe, and that is generic. Now, the reason behind this is because generic purely focuses on having energy. So, when you guys have used your very first school tree, here is exactly what you guys can expect to see. Of course, mine are all fully upgraded, so things might be a little bit different, but ignore the stuff on the side, such as these. Don't worry about them for the time being. So when it comes to generic, make sure to upgrade your energy pulse and your energizing dash. The reason behind this is so that you can never ever run out of energy. Of course, if you guys take generic along with these 2 pulses or these 2 nodes, combined with energize, you guys will never ever worry about having a lack of energy. So let's go over energy pulse. Energy pickups grant 50% additional energy over 5 seconds. So basically, you guys get more energy over a course of 5 seconds. Energizing dash. Void dash creates a zone of energy for 8 seconds. Allies passing through the zone gains 5 energy per second for 30 seconds. So in other words, you go into your operate form and you dash, you'll create this zone of energy. Yourself, including your allies who pass through this, will gain 5 energy per second for 30 seconds. So before we can do anything, we need to first decide on which school tree that we want to max out. So in my case, I want to go and rank up Naramon because I still have some nodes that I need to do. Make sure you only pick one school tree, otherwise this method won't be as effective as it could be. Another thing to mention is that make sure that it is a school tree that is not ranked up, because you guys do not want to be wasting focus points just like I have done here in generic. So go ahead and pick your school tree. I'm rolling with Naramon. So once you guys have picked your desired school, let's talk lenses. Here's how they work. So each school tree has their very own lens. So for instance, Naramon has a Naramon lens, generic has a generic lens, Vazarin has a Vazarin lens, etc, etc, etc. So when it comes to lenses, there's 4 different types. By the way, this concept applies to all the other school trees and there's no difference. The only difference is really the name and the school tree that you'll gain that XP. So here are the 4 different types of lenses. Now, what makes all these lenses unique and different from one another is the amount of XP that you guys get. So I'm going to use Naramon as an example. So here's what happens. So we get ourselves a base Naramon lens. This gives us the least amount of XP. Then we get ourselves the third best lens in terms of XP, and that is our Greater Naramon lens, as you guys can see right here. Then we get ourselves the second best lens, and that being the Eidolon lens, and you guys need a greater lens to build your Eidolon lens. And finally, the best lens, and in other words, the lens that gives you the most amount of XP, and that is Lure. Now, for this video, I'm not going to be using a Lure lens because trying to get a Lure lens is a huge pain, let me tell you guys. The only way that you guys can get a Lure lens is to go and complete the second dream. Then go to Lure, aka the moon. It's right next to Earth. Then you guys need to go and do a disruption and hope and pray that RNG is in your side. But on disruption, it drops on rotation C. I'll leave a link down in the description to a Warframe wiki. It tells you exactly all the fine details that you guys will need. So anyways, this video we're going to be using an Eidolon lens, which is the second best lens when it comes to focus farming. Now, you first have to go and build these lenses. Now, in order to get the Greater Naramon lens or your Greater Lens blueprint, you guys can go to the market and buy it. It costs about 200,000 credits. Pretty pricey, but definitely worth it. And in order to get your Eidolon lens, you guys have to go to the plains of Eidolon, aka Cetus, speak with Konzu and accept a bounty from him, and hover over one of the bounties and it'll tell you guys exactly which bounty gives you what. Now don't worry, I'll go over this just now, but basically you guys need to have a particular lens for your school tree. So for instance, I'm going to be ranking up Naramon, therefore I'm going to be using an Eidolon or a Naramon Eidolon lens. So as I previously mentioned, I'm going to be showing you guys how to get these special blueprints for these lenses. So starting off with our Naramon lens. In order to get this, go up to the market and then interact with it. At the top left, you'll see a search bar. In the search bar, you simply have to just type in Greater, and as you guys can see, we have 5 different lenses from 5 different schools. Now obviously pick your desired school, so in my case, I'm going to be rolling with Greater Naramon lens. It tells you right here, it's for 40 platinum. Don't be fooled by it, still click on it. And as you guys can see, we have 2 options. So the first option is, if you guys spend 40 platinum, you'll receive a fully built, ready to use Greater Naramon lens. However, the second option is, if you guys spend 200,000 credits, you'll receive the blueprint. Now, the blueprint's crafting requirements are as follows. So you'll be needing 25,000 credits, 1 build Forma, 1 argon crystal, 1 oracle cell, and finally, in my case, I'll be needing 4 regular Naramon lenses. Now, all the crafting requirements for each and every school is the exact same. The only difference is the lenses. So for instance, let's say that you went with, say, a Greater Generic Lens blueprint, okay? So what's going to happen is, resources wise, exactly the same. Only difference is, instead of needing 4 regular Naramon lenses, you'll be needing 4 regular generic lenses to build this. It'll take about exactly 1 day. Once it's built, then you guys can move on to your Eidolon lens. You use the lens that you get from this blueprint to go and build your Eidolon lens. Now, in order to get your other blueprints, here's what we need to do. So first, interact with your navigation. Then push escape, that way you can see all the planets. Now, in order to get your Lure blueprint or your Lure lens blueprint, you simply have to go to Lure. So as I previously stated, it is right next to Earth. Here is Earth. Here is Lure. Now, in order to get access to Lure, complete the second dream. So once you guys have done that, click on it, and then here is the mission that drops the Lure lens. It's called Disruption. The name of the node is Apollo. Like I previously stated, link will be down in the description for that rotation C. So play Road Disruption and keep grinding until you get to rotation C. Rotation C is usually the end of a full cycle. It'll require like 1 full round or 4 of something. Like if you guys see you went through like 4 different stages of 1 round, that means that that's what rotation C, because it's A, B, C. So go to Apollo, read up on how to get the Lure lens. That's as much information I can give you guys. So in order to get the Eidolon lens, you simply have to go to Earth, that being right here, and then go to Cetus. So here we are in Cetus. Now here's what you guys need to do. When you guys get to this spawn location, on your keyboard, push escape, click on fast travel, and then scroll down to Konzu. And then here is Konzu. You'll see this menu right here. Click on bounties and scroll all the way down. Now, as you guys can see, if you hover over everything, you can see what you guys get in terms of rewards. But in order to get the Eidolon lens, you guys simply have to go and do this bounty right here. Sabotage Grenier Supply Lines. As you guys can see, possible rewards: common, endo, breath of Eidolon, uncommon, some relics, and a Cetus whips, 2 of them, and Kuva. And finally, the rarest reward, as you guys can see, Eidolon lens blueprint is right there. Another way you guys can get the Eidolon lens blueprint, and I don't recommend you guys do this, is to simply go and do the steel path. But let me tell you, don't bother with that, because the steel path enemies are a lot tougher. I mean, look at that, it's level 100. Just rather go do this bounty right here, because you know it's between level 40 and 60. It's a lot easier, less hassle free, and also you know you need about 4 of them or 5 of them, depending on what your preferred way is. So now that we know exactly what lenses are, how they work, how to build them, and all that good stuff, we can now move on to our setup. So one major component that we will be needing is an Affinity Booster. The reason behind this is because an Affinity Booster essentially just gives us more XP. The more XP we can get per kill, the more focus we'll receive. So in other words, the amount of focus that you guys will be receiving is determined by the amount of XP that you guys can generate in a small period. I'll explain that small period later in the video. So go ahead and get yourself an Affinity Booster. In order to do that, go to the market, the top left, you'll see a search bar. In the search bar, type in AFFIN, and here is the Affinity Booster. Now, I'm going to get the 3-day Affinity Booster for the video's sake, so it's going to only cost you 40 platinum. However, if you guys want a 30-day one, won't make a difference. If you guys get the platinum, get the 30-day one if you really want to grind out focus hard. So just make sure that you guys get yourself an Affinity Booster. So when it comes to focus farming, there really is only a handful of frames out there that can do the trick. Now what I'm referring to is any frame out there that can easily nuke rooms. Now for this I'm going to be using Saryn. However, if you guys don't want to be using Saryn, here are some alternatives. There's Equinox. She can also nuke rooms pretty well if you know how to use her. Khora is definitely another frame, but I don't think she'll be that good when it comes to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught because of Cephalon Samaras' stupid mechanic. But because this was a requested video and I am a man of my word, I'm also going to be covering Vault. Now, I wouldn't say Vault is a strong candidate when it comes to ESO focus farming, but he is really good and I will not deny his potential. So with that being said, let's move on to our builds. So here's the build for Vault. Of course, there is no Forma equipped on this build because you guys know how I like to roll. Now, when it comes to Vault, you guys basically want to go to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught when it comes to Vault and focus farming. However, I don't recommend you guys go with Vault because compared to his number 4 and what other frames can do, he's not exactly the best nuker, but he is pretty good. However, if you guys do want to use Vault and you enjoy his playstyle and his vibe, here is a build. However, if you guys don't like my build and you feel that you can make your build or my build better, remember, my guides are only a reference to you guys, so feel free to tweak these builds to your heart's content. So with that being said, let's move on with our build. So for our aura, we are rolling with Growing Power. Now, the way that Growing Power works is, if you guys apply any form of status effect on an enemy, you guys will gain a 25% increased power strength for 6 seconds. Now, this 25% does stack with the 199% that we currently have. In other words, by math, that makes 224% power strength. If you guys ask me, that is a lot. Next, we will be rolling with Fleeting Expertise and Streamline for more ability efficiency. Remember, the less energy we can use, the better, meaning that we can spam our number 4. Next, we're rolling with a Flow. That way we have a bigger energy pool. That way we have no restrictions on our ability in terms of energy. Next, we're rolling with Stretch, Auger Reach, and finally Cunning Drift for more range. Remember, the more range we have, the bigger the area of effect. Next, we'll be rolling with Auger Message and Primed Continuity for more duration. The more duration we have, the longer the enemies get shocked and the more damage it will deal. And finally, we are going to be using Blind Rage for more power strength. The more power strength we have, the more damage we will deal with our electricity. Now, in the Arcanes department, ladies and gentlemen, Arcanes are not important, but in this case, Arcane Energize will make a huge difference because when you guys are using Vault's number 4 in ESO, aka Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, what's going to happen is the more energy you guys have, the better, because you guys will be using your number 4 a lot. And finally, we are rolling with Arcane Guardian because I don't like to die and Vault is very, very squishy. Arcane Guardian gives us more armor. So one more thing I'd like to put out there is the reason why I think Vault is not really good when it comes to focus farming is because he does not have, how can I put this? Oh yeah, so with Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, the problem that I have with Vault is because you have to spam your number 4 a lot, and Cephalon Samaras does not like it when you use your ability too frequently, he will disable it. That's why I think that Vault is not a good option. However, that is my opinion. If you guys disagree with that, that is cool too. Just keep it respectful. So Saryn is the best frame when it comes to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught for focus farming. The reason behind this is because Saryn can easily nuke a room without using too many abilities too frequently. Remember, Cephalon Samaras will disable that particular ability, and trust me, that is annoying. But it is what it is. Now, I'm not going to go over too much detail when it comes to this build because I've already done that in a previous video. If you guys are interested in Saryn or you want more information on this build, take a look at the link down in the description, or I'll suggest that video to you guys at the top right. So go ahead and take a look. So I'm just going to summarize this for you. So basically we have a surviving nuclear build. In other words, we can nuke a room and we can self-regenerate at will, thanks to our aura, that being rejuvenation and regenerative molt. We've also got ourselves overextended reach and stretch, that way our spore can cover the entire area. We've also got a vitality because I do not like dying and I like to survive. We've also got ourselves intensify and transient fortitude for more power strength. The more power strength we have, the more damage our spore will deal. Now, the power strength doesn't exactly give spore damage. What it does is essentially it increases the multiplier or the rate at which the damage starts racking up. So in other words, this rack up damage will increase a lot faster. So here's how spore works. All you guys have to do is find a close by enemy. Look at them, activate your spore, kill them. Then the spores will take care of all nearby enemies. Basically, it will deal corrosive damage. Now, feel free to pause the video if you guys want to copy this build or build your own version using this as a reference. In the Arcanes department, basically have an Arcane Energize. If you guys don't have one, it's still cool. But if you guys do have an Arcane, roll with Arcane Energize and roll with Arcane Guardian. Arcane Energize for more energy, Arcane Guardian for more armor. So remember when I told you guys about those Eidolon lenses? Yeah, we need to now go and install them because without them, you'll basically get no focus. Now, previously I told you guys you need to go and get yourself 4 blueprints. That is incorrect, just get yourself 2 blueprints and then craft them. Once they're done being crafted, you can now install them onto your Warframe and your weapon of choice. So in this case, I'm going to be installing my first lens onto Saryn and my second one onto Graham. Now, it doesn't really matter which weapon, it can be a primary, a secondary, or a melee. Just make sure in terms of your weapons that you're very confident that this weapon can kill really easy and really quickly groups of enemies. So that's why I'm going with the Grand Prime, because we know that the Grand Prime is easily one of the best weapons in the entire game. So with that being said, let me show you guys how to install these lenses. So I'm going to begin with Saryn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on upgrade and I'm going to wait a bit, and then at the bottom right you should see a whole bunch of buttons. Click on action. Here you should see even more options, and then at the far right you should say something about installing a lens. Now your writing should be different from mine because I've already got my Eidolon Narrowman lens ready to use. So what you guys need to do is click on anyways. Here you'll see a list of items or a list of lenses in your inventory. So let's say that this is your required lens. What you need to do is left click, and then in your guys case you have to click on OK. When you guys click on OK, another message will come up saying, hey, your lens has been successfully installed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click cancel because I don't want to lose my Eidolon Narrowman lens. So you guys do the exact same thing when it comes to your melee weapon. So one quick tip that I forgot to mention to you guys is you guys need to remove the weapons that do not have your desired Eidolon lens on. So in my case, I have an Eidolon lens on my Grand Prime and I have removed my primary and secondary weapon just because they eat up the XP. The same can be said with your Sentinel, but I want to keep my Sentinel with me because of the vacuum perk because I'm pretty lazy. But if you guys want, remove it or keep it. Won't really make a huge difference, but yeah. So I'll see you guys when I'm actually farming for the focus. So here is Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, aka ESO. So at the beginning of each zone, you'll notice there's this yellow symbol with a countdown. What that means is, during this period of time, your focus multiplier is at its peak. So in other words, you guys need to make sure to try and get as many kills as humanly possible during this time. Now, when you guys start a session, that initial zone, you will not get focus. I don't know why it works like that, but it is what it is. So for each round, you guys can expect around more than 10 to 40,000 XP. So after one run, I was able to accumulate 200,000 focus points. That is incredible, considering that I did the solo and that is more than half of my daily focus cap. I definitely can conclude that this method works by using Saryn, because once again, it is relaxing and stress free. All you have to do is bring your best weapon and just nuke everything. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today's video. If this video has helped you or if you liked it, leave a like. Remember to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'ma make like a banana and split.